everyone, welcome back to my lab and today's video, which is going to be on the latest Pat McGrath collection. I purchased the collection on the Pat McGrath website on launch day. A lot of these products are now available on Sephora, but not all of the shades will be available on Sephora that are available on the Pat McGrath website. Today I want to share with you eye swatches of the eyeshadow palette, since I know that she's sending out PR and there's already a little bit of information on the palette, plus you all seem to enjoy that quite a bit last time that I did with the Rose Decadence Volume 2 palette, so I wanted to continue doing that. And I purchased some of the Divinyl lip products, which is a brand new lip formula to her collection. Before we get into the video, if you're new here, I'm Yori. Thank you for clicking on my video. Hope you're going to enjoy this one, and consider subscribing, maybe helping me reach my goal of 10,000 subscribers. I'd also like to thank the first 5 commenters on my last video. I'm gonna leave them here on the screen. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support, and I love chatting makeup with you in the comment section. If it's a person that I know has a YouTube channel, I will put the little YouTube logo there as well and link them down below, because it's always fun to find new people to watch. Now, without any further delay, let's go ahead and get into the video. So I purchased the eyeshadow palette. This one is called the Pat McGrath Mothership Eyeshadow Palette, and this one is the Rose Decadence palette. This is now the 3rd installment in her Rose series, and I picked up one of the lip Divinyl trios. This one is a nude show, and I will go ahead and do lip swatches of this one as well. Getting into the eyeshadow palette, it's a beautiful hard cardboard palette. You do lift it up like this, and you have a mirror on the inside. So this is not the typical trifold formula. It's more similar to the Star Wars collection, where she just had a single flap that you would open up to use it, which I actually appreciate it more than her trifold version, because if you're looking at a version like this one, it's very nice, but it does kind of close on itself, and it's a little harder to use than the one that just has a single flap, so I really appreciate it. Also, this little envelope closure has been eliminated from that particular packaging. I don't know if it's something that she's going to be doing permanently, but I personally appreciate this style of the packaging. This palette does retail for $65. I do remember the days that these palettes would retail for $55, but here we are. You do have 6 eyeshadows in this palette. It's my understanding they are all new shades, 12-month shelf life, and you are receiving 12 grams of product in the eyeshadow palette. Let's go ahead and get into the eye swatches on the palette. I'm also going to let you know how I managed to have a little bit of a savings that I was not expecting at all. I will also swatch the 3 lip colors that I have for you and guide you through this eye look. So let's rewind time a little bit and get to that. So I want to start with swatching the palette. I'm going to use my Sonia G brushes. For the mattes, I'm going to be using my Crease 2 brush, and then for the shimmers, I'll be using the Builder 2. So here's the palette. Your 2 mattes are those 2 shades right there. It's Peach Dusk and Hedonistic Rose. The other 4 are metallic shades. So I will go ahead and start doing my eye swatches. Here are your first 2 shades. Pink Champagne and Peach Dusk. Pink Champagne is a shimmer shade, so I'm gonna go ahead and use the Builder brush. So this one looks very pink on my skin tone. A little bit peachier than it does in the pan, since I am more of a tan skin tone, but it's showing up and building quite nicely. The next shade is Peach Dusk, so I'm going to go ahead and use more of a blender brush. I'm going to use patting motions and then also blending motions. This one is very pigmented, and I love this peachy pink color. Very beautiful. So this was one dip of my brush, and you can see the color payoff that I'm getting. I don't know if you can see, but I feel like up here it has a little bit of a sheen to it. Go ahead and pack a little bit more. And these are your first 2 shades. Those 2 would make a beautiful eye look on their own. Our next shades are Fuchsia Flame and Hedonistic Rose. This fuchsia shade is so beautiful. There we go. Fuchsia Flame seems to have a little bit of a purple reflect and also orange reflex. So I'm curious to see how that's going to translate on the eye. Again, I'm doing these eye swatches with my eyelids completely dry. There's no primer or anything. This is a beautiful shade. Oh my goodness, I really love this one. So there you have Fuchsia Flame. Hedonistic Rose is next, and this was very pigmented in the swatch, and it is very pigmented on the eye as well. It is diffusing out nicely, so you can use a lighter layer to get a more sheer wash. And there are your next two shades. I love the shades so much. Our next two shades are Scandalous and Golden Honey. Beautiful swatches. Those two are stunning. My friend and I were laughing about how there's always an obligatory gold in every Pat McGrath palette, so that would be the gold in this one. Very beautiful shades. Going in with Scandalous. This shade would blend beautifully with the Fuchsia Flame shade because it does have that orange reflect. I think it would blend so nicely with this one. And lastly, Golden Honey. Here is Golden Honey. This one suits my skin tone really nicely, I think, because of its warmth. So there is that shade applied. Now these two applied beautifully with, on the swatches with my fingers. So I'm gonna apply a little bit with my fingers, see how I can build it up. Oh wow, look at that. Sometimes your fingers really are the best tools. And then of course, if you have a tacky base or something like that, you can always intensify it or spray down your brush, but that's completely dry. I'm going to do the same with the other shade as well, just to see. Yeah. And again, you can really build it up. And I think that's very true to how it swatched on my arm. Super intense. I've primed my eyes with the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion, and like any day that I'm messing with my eyes a lot, I am riding the struggle bus with my eye watering a little bit. So I've been playing with this shadow. This one is Peach Dusk. I really love the color of this eyeshadow. I think it would make a beautiful single eyeshadow look, but as I've been playing with it, I'm convinced that it's not a 100% true matte. Every time I apply it, it does have a slight sheen to it, and I know that I don't set my eyeshadow base, which could contribute to that a little bit, but I applied a small amount to my lid just to take a look at it, and I do find that it has like a slight sheen to it. I wouldn't call it as much as a satin or anything like that, but I just feel like it's not 100% a true matte. Despite that, it does perform like a matte, it blends out like a matte. You can see that it's blending for days and diffusing beautifully. My eyelids have an extra amount of texture on them just from applying and removing eyeshadow so much, plus my eyelids have natural texture anyway. So I'm gonna go ahead with the other color, which is the Hedonistic Rose, and I'm going to apply that to the outer corner. I was tempted to do more of a bronzy look because from the lipsticks that I purchased from the collection, there's one called Temptress, which, oh my gosh, it looks so beautiful, and I really wanted to wear that one today. I'm gonna swatch all of them on the lips for you anyway, but then I couldn't resist using Fuchsia Flame on my lids as well once I saw how beautifully it's swatched. So you can see these shadows are blending beautifully together. I concentrated it on the outer V at first, and now I'm pushing it upward. So while I'm working on this look, I want to go ahead and tell you how it is that I saved some money. It was completely by accident, but I don't don't want to be a clickbaiter and wait until I get to that portion of the video. I want to go ahead and let you know now in case that's why you clicked on the video. So I purchased the products on the Pat McGrath website when it launched. I did make a post on my community tab as well, so that you can shop the launch if you were interested in doing so, and I did get 10% off. But one of the things that I noticed is that when the items went live and the sale went live, I'm using pink champagne on the inner corner. I noticed that the trios, the lipstick trios, were not activated yet. And I did use the customer support chat option to talk to someone and ask if they were going to be available, because the launch started a little bit before 8 o'clock my time, which is when it was supposed to be available, but it started a little bit earlier. I'm going ahead and I'm applying this one with my finger just so I can get more intensity. You could wet your brush, but I already know enough about myself that the minute I spray my brush with anything, like if I use Fix Plus or anything that's slightly emollient, my eyeshadow will completely crease and come off. And like I said, my eyes are already watery for today, and yeah, I don't want to make it any worse. So I noticed that the lipstick trios were not available right away, and I wondered, what was that all about? So I asked them and they said that it would be available right at 9 o'clock Eastern, which is 8 o'clock my time. I'm gonna go ahead with Fuchsia Flame now, and I'm also using my finger to apply this one. So I waited until it activated the lipstick trios, and I saw the prices, and it just looked like an incredible deal, because the lipsticks themselves were, I believe, $36 or $38 a piece, like most Pat McGrath lip products are, and the trios were $60. And I knew I wanted to get the nude one, and the other one that I wanted to get was more of a corally pink, and that was part of the other trio. But then the other two colors that came in that, what does she call it? Color Blitz trio, they were a little bit more similar, like there was a little less differentiation between the shades, and I wanted a little bit of more differentiation, so I went ahead and I went with the Skin Show Nudes, and they were $60. And in addition to that, I used the code and I got the 10% off. So later on, I saw that the price of the trios, and I just checked today, I got my order yesterday, I just checked today, and they're $92. So I think that there must have been some mistake made when the trios were initially posted. Going back to pink champagne. And I think I got an amazing savings, guys. I mean, that's $92 was some amount off as well, but $60 was a lot of amount off. So I am so excited and so glad that they honored the price that was listed at the time, because I'm convinced it was wrong. So now I'm just gonna go back and forth to get the desired intensity between these two metallic shades. And like I said, you could dampen your brush to get more intensity, especially on this inner corner portion, but I already know that for me that'll just make the eyeshadow crease and my eyes water, so I'm not going to do that. You can see I'm getting a lot of fallout, but typically when I do my eyeshadow first, I am never careful and I always get fallout, so that's really not surprising. I'm just going to deepen out the outer V now with Hedonistic Rose, and that'll be the end for the eye look for now, until I start working on my lower lash line, which basically I'm just going to use the two mattes along the lower lash line anyway, so it'll be something very simple. That's the basis for the eye look. For my eyeliner, I'm using Melt Cosmetics Immortal. I did use Marc Jacobs liner in my waterline because, again, my eyes are watering something awful, so I need something pretty heavy duty. And my mascara today is the Tartist mascara, because I like the amount of separation that it gives me. Even though this mascara flakes a little bit, I do like the separation, and I like the plastic bristle wand. It's probably the last hurrah for this mascara. Honestly, I've had it for a long time, and it's time to put that in the empties. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish off the eye look, do my face. I will list everything I use in the description box down below, and we'll come back into the lower lash line. So here's how my makeup is looking. It's taking me a long time to get my makeup done today. Yeah, I had Comcast calling me a minute ago, and I had to take a break too. Like I moved in June 23rd, and I'm still having issues with internet, and right now it's the cable television, so everything is not quite settled yet. The other day I completely lost internet, and I rely on that for work, so that was pretty tough. Anyway, I'm going in with Peach Dusk on the lower lash line, and I'm just applying that all throughout and blending it in with the top shadow. Then I'm going to take Hedonistic Rose, and I'm going to stamp that right along the lower lashes just to give me a little bit of depth. I want it to be a little bit of a bolder, smokier look than usual, so I'm bringing it in a little bit further than I normally would. And I'm making sure to connect it with the top. Then going in with the pink champagne, I'm just going to extend that into the lower lash line a little bit. And I'm using a rougher 03 brush. I did apply a little bit of a liner on the lower lash line. This is the NYX Faux White in Seashell. And I finished with my lower lash mascara. Let me do that and I will be right back. Alright, so this is your finished eye look. I like the way that it turned out. I think it's really pretty. So we're going to go ahead and play with the new lip formula. So these are the Lip Fetish Divinyl lip shines, and I picked up 3 shades in the Skin Show Nude set. So I have Nude Venus, Bellamore, and Temptress, so we're gonna go ahead and try them out. Before we get into that, I did notice that for the packaging, so you see the little knob there is drawn in. It used to actually be like a little piece of paper and you would wind string around it, which was a nice touch, but you know, packaging is meant to be recycled, and so it's fine. It also stores a little bit easier, so it's fine. Here's the outer component, super pretty. They're all pink on the outside regardless of the shade, so I'm gonna swatch them all for you. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the shade. This one is Nude Venus. It's the lightest shade, so I figured why not. So you can see this one is actually pulling a little bit pink on me. It's because my lips are naturally quite pigmented, and so even though the shade appears nude in the packaging, on my own lip color it looks a little bit more pink. The next shade I'm going to swatch for you is called Bellamore, and I think this is probably the one I'm going to end up wearing. So you can see this one is a lot more bold, and on my lips it looks really bright pink, like a blue-based pink. That's what that one is looking like. Now that I see it with the eye look, I think it's gonna be a bit much, so I probably won't be wearing this one after all, but that is what it looks like on the lips. Last but not least, we have the shade Temptress, and this one on the models on her website looks divine, like truly beautiful. And here's what that one looks like. It does have a lot more warmth than the previous shade, Bellamore, but I think that the fact that I'm wearing such bright pink eyeshadow is making it pull a little bit more pink, but you can see that there's a lot more warmth to it. See if you kind of ignore my eyes. That was the shade Temptress. So having applied all 3 of them, I think I'm gonna go with the nude shade because the eyes are quite bright already. So I will go ahead, apply that, finish my hair, and come back with my final opinions. So I'd like to share my thoughts on the palette first. As you can see, the eyeshadows performed beautifully. Here's what the palette looks like. My favorite shade in the palette is Fuchsia Flame, which is one of the ones that I'm wearing today, but the mattes also perform beautifully. It's a very nice peachy rose mauvey kind of vibe with the palette. Typical Pat McGrath formula. I was particularly impressed with how the 2 metallics swatched, both finger swatches as well as on the eyes when applied with my finger. You can always intensify the shadows, as I mentioned, by using a wet brush. That's something I personally don't do anymore because my eyelids are so oily that applying any kind of liquid to my eye immediately just creates a mess. So that's not something that I typically do, but you could and get a more intense effect. I do find that the palette itself packs a lot more punch than the original Divine Rose palettes. I find that the Divine Rose palettes, which I have here, here's version 2. I'll show you that one. Here's version 2. And especially version 1, which I have here. See, this one is a lot more muted. So if you loved version 1 because of those rosy neutrals, kind of everyday wearable shades, you might not like this new palette because it's a lot more bold in my opinion. But as such, it's a nice complement to round out the collection. So just something to keep in mind, and I think it's a really pretty palette. Will it be my favorite Pat McGrath palette? Probably not. I never favor her 6-pan palettes because it doesn't have any of her special shades. Although I was a really big fan of this limited edition Star Wars one, I really enjoyed this one from her 6-pan palettes. I would say that one's probably my favorite from the 6-pans collections. With regard to the lip shines, I have to say that on my lips, the swatches look absolutely nothing like the swatches that she has on her website. I still think that they're very pretty colors and I will enjoy wearing them. They're not going to be my favorite lip formula. I prefer her Luxe Trance lipsticks. They are very opaque, very rich, very hydrating. These are a little bit more of a sheer formula, and I enjoy them, but my preference for formula like that would be this from YSL. This is the Lip Volute Shine Tint and Oil kind of product. I never remember the name because it's so long. I've always really enjoyed this formula, and in that family of lip product, this one remains my personal favorite. I was happy to be able to try out this formula. I think it's very nice. If you enjoy sheer lip products, then I think that you would definitely enjoy this one, but be very mindful of what the colors are going to look on your lips because they're not exactly the same as they look on the promotional photos. I'm not sure if maybe they blank out the lips before applying the product. That's not something I enjoy doing because I don't enjoy a lot of layers on my lips, so I just put it on directly on my lips, and you saw what the colors looked like. How lucky was I to be able to get that sale? I'm really, again, very thankful that they honored the price. And of the 3 shades that I have, my favorite is Temptress, with nude shades like the one I'm wearing today, which is Nude Venus. They have a tendency to always go pink when they're sheer just because my own lip color is quite pigmented, so just something to keep in mind. I can always apply it over a lip liner, but again, with lip products like this, I personally prefer them to be a little bit less high maintenance, very low fuss, no muss, kind of throw it on and go. And they are, it's just you have to be careful with the color selections that you have. That's everything from me today. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, leave those in the comment section down below. I'm happy to answer them as best I can. I know that my video probably won't be first, but hopefully my thoughts added a little something additional to the conversation. Thank you again for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I hope you're staying safe and healthy, and I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon on my next one. Bye-bye.